Okay, let's work on marking notifications as read. Now, this can work in several ways. If you take a look at YouTube and you see the badge here of unread notifications, once I click on this, then the notifications will be marked as read. So if I click on it, you'll see my comments here. And if I refresh the page, you'll see that the badge does not come back because they're already marked as read. However, the comments do remain in this notification dialog. So the way I'm going to make it work is slightly different. If you take a look at Laracasts, there's a section here for notifications, and they're only marked as read if I actually click on the notification here. And this goes to the video page of that comment. So if I click on this one by Patrick Daniel, you'll see that it goes to that video page. We can see the comment down here. And then if I go back to my notifications, it should be gone. Okay. And there's also a clear all button down here somewhere. So that's the way I'm going to make ours work. So we have to click on it before it's marked as read. I'm going to start with marking all as read, as that should be pretty simple. So back to our code, comment notifications. Let's go to mark all as read. Okay. And let's add a wire click on this. Wire click, let's say mark all as read. Okay. Let's make that method in our class here, comment notifications. Let's make a new method down here. Let me just move this up, say mark all as read. Okay. And if you take a look at the documentation for notifications, you'll see that you can mark all as read like this. So just call it on the collection of notifications itself, or the collection of unread notifications. So let's go ahead and grab this. Go here, let's paste this in. Should be the logged in user, so let's do that instead of user. So auth user. And let's go ahead and add some auth here as well. We don't really need it, but let's try to stay consistent. So let's just grab something from here. And we have to be logged in to do this functionality, so let's use this here. Okay, let's import response. And let's see if this works. Actually, let's make sure we close the dialog as well. So back to our view, comment notifications. Let's also add a click handler for Alpine to hide the dialog. So click is open is false. Okay. And again, this is an Alpine component as well, as you see here. So let's try this out. So we have 4 unread notifications here. If I click on mark all as read, it should close the dialog and mark them as read. Okay, close the dialog. It doesn't update this yet, but if you take a look at the database and I refresh, you'll see that this read at timestamp is added. So if I were to refresh the page, it should be 0 now. Cool. So it did work. So we can make it refresh automatically if we want to do that, and we do. So we have these 2 methods already, get notification count and also get notifications. So we can just call these after we mark them as read. So let's do that. This get notification count, and that should update the badge, and get notifications should update the notifications and make it empty. So let's try that again. I'm gonna put this back manually. So let's just set these to null again. Okay, so I set them to null again. They should reappear here when I refresh, okay? And let's try that again. So if I mark all as read, it should automatically close the dialog like it did before, but it should also reset the badge and the list of notifications. Okay, so everything is working. And if you want, you can add a confirm dialog like we've been doing for the other actions, but I'm okay with it just happening as we click it. Okay, so again, I'm going to put that back so we can work with the notifications. So let me just reset it in the database again. Okay, so they're back at null, and there should be 4 here again. And now let's work on marking individual notifications as read. So same thing, we just have to call mark as read on the individual notification. So let's do that. So back to our Blade view for comment notifications. So where's the for each here? Right here. So let's put this back so the dialog closes when we click on it. But we also want to mark it as read. And we also want to maintain the functionality that goes to that idea when we click on it. So we're going to call another method here on the LiveWire component. So let's put it underneath here. Say wire click equals mark as read. So we need the notification to be passed into this method because we need access to that notification so we can call the method on it. But if I pass in the notification, it's going to be passed in as a string. So let's pass in the notification ID here instead. So let's just say notification ID, okay? And let's make sure it's wireclick.prevent. So it doesn't do the prevent. So it doesn't do the default action, I mean. So the functionality of clicking the link will no longer be there, but we'll make sure to add it in our method here. Okay, so let's make that method. Let's put it up here. Mark as read. Notification ID. So again, let's do auth here to be consistent, to make sure the user has to be logged in. And let's go ahead and grab the notification. So we can do notification. And the corresponding model is called database notification. And if I press tab here, it should import that. Let's check. Yeah, this one right here. Okay. And we can use find or fail by the passed in notification ID. So we grab that notification again, and then we can mark it as read. So notification mark as read. Okay. Sorry, not notification ID, notification. Okay. So let's try this out first. It's not going to go to the idea anymore, but let's see if it marks the notification as read. So let's try the first one here. Should close it. And we get an error. 404 not found. So there's a space here. Not sure if that's the issue. Let's try if that fixes it. Let's refresh. Let's try to mark this one as read. Okay, so it looks like that did work. If I refresh this, you'll see that this one is marked as read. So if I refresh this page, it should be 3 now. Okay, so it does work. But like I said, we want to make sure we still go to that idea. So let's go back here and let's add that functionality back. So we can say return, redirect, route, and we are going to the idea.show page. And let's pass in the idea, and we have that idea from the notification data. So notification data, and it's the idea slug that we need, idea slug. And if you don't remember, we're storing this in the data field. You can see here, this is the idea slug. Where is it? Right here. So if we pass this into this method or this redirect route, then it should go to that page. So let's try that out. Okay. Refresh. Still have 3 here. And this should go to that idea when I click on it and also mark it as read. Data of non-object. I keep using notification ID instead of notification. Let's try that again. So it looks like it did mark it as read, but let's try this one. Okay, so that did work. And since it's a redirect, it refreshes the page and the counter does go down, so that's great. So I want to make it so that it actually scrolls to the comment after we click on that page. Now this isn't trivial, but it shouldn't be too difficult, so let's go ahead and go through that. So if you don't remember, we already have the JavaScript in place to scroll to a comment. So if I add a new reply here, then it should scroll to that. And we get an error because my mail client is not opened. I'm going to remove that for now because I just added mail to show how database notifications work. So let me remove the mail driver in our comment added notification. So up here, let's just remove mail for now. Okay. And it's just database. So let's try that again. So it should scroll to the last comment. Scroll to comment. Okay, so we have that scrolling functionality in place. And I wanted to scroll to the particular comment when we click on the notification here. Okay, so we click on it, it goes to that page and it scrolls directly to this comment. So when I click on this, I want to tell this particular request, the one that just happened, that I want to scroll to a particular comment. So how do we do that? So the way I did it was I made use of flash variables. So usually you make use of flash variables to flash a message after you submit a form. So I'm doing this in the add an idea form. So let's take a look at that. Add idea, or is it create idea? Yeah. So right here, session flash, and we flash a success message. And this only shows on this particular request. So right after we redirect. So we want to do something similar. Let's grab this back here, not here, here. And let's add a flash variable here. Let's call it scroll to comment. Scroll to comment. And we can pass in a value as well. So I want to pass in the comment ID here. So let's do that. Comment ID. And we also have to grab the comment. So let's do that as well. So let's say comment is comment find. And again, we can grab the comment ID from our notification data. So notification data comment ID, because we're storing that in there. Okay. So let's try this. Let's import a comment. And let's just echo out this flash variable to see if it works. So we can do this anywhere. I'll do it in here because I believe this is where I'm showing the success message. Okay. So let's just duplicate this. And I named it the variable scroll to comment. Okay. And we don't need this for now. Let's just echo it out here so we can do this. Actually, we have to wrap it in braces. Okay. So let's save that. First, let me check if this actually renders somewhere on the page. Does this show? And it does actually show, but it's all the way down here behind the debug bar. So it does show. Okay. Let me just put it in the middle to make sure I can see it when I echo out the variable. Does this work? Okay, so there it is. Let's do the same for this. Let me grab this and just wrap it here so we can see it if it does exist. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Now this should render when I click on a notification. And it should only happen for that next request. So let's try that out. We have one notification here. Actually, let me start on the idea page to make sure it goes to that page. So it should go to this page. Okay. And it should echo out the comment ID here. Awesome. So what we can do here is add an ID on all the comment containers so we can scroll to it using JavaScript. So let's do that. I believe it's called idea comment. And we can put an ID on this container. So let's say ID equals, say comment dash and the comment ID. Comment ID. Okay. And like I said in a previous video, if you don't want to expose this information on your front end, you can use a package to obfuscate this. But I don't think it's a big deal for comments. Okay, so let's see if that worked. So if I view the source here or inspect it, you'll see that each comment should now have an ID. So each comment container. So not this one, but this one. Okay, cool. So I'm looking at this right here, comment 507. Okay, so now where is our code that scrolls to a particular comment? So that code lives in add comment, I believe, right here. And we're making use of Livewire's hooks to hook into that event. So we have two cases here. So this case, let me get rid of this So this case is for pagination. So let's put a comment here called pagination. And this case is for when we add a comment. So in both cases, they scroll to a comment. So let's say adding comment. Okay. Now I'm going to put this new case for scrolling to a comment after we click on a notification in here, just so they're grouped together. So it doesn't really make sense because it has nothing to do with the add comment component, but it does make sense because they're grouped together, at least to me. So if you want, you can put it in a component that makes more sense. For example, idea comments, but then they will be separated. And this is not even an Alpine component. So for now, I'm just going to put it in here. So in this case, we don't need to use Livewire hook. We just have to listen for that session variable. So we still want it within xinit. And let's grab what we have here. Okay. Let's put it here. So if the session variable exists, then we can go ahead and scroll to that comment. So this is getting quite messy and there is some duplication, but I'm just going to use this for now. So let's grab this. Don't need this. Space this in. Actually, not this. We just want this section here. So only the section that scrolls to the comment and highlights it for 5 seconds. Okay, so let's re-indent this. So this is no longer the last comment. This is the comment we want to scroll to. So it's a comment to scroll to, okay? And we're grabbing it from the ID. So it's a comment, and we can get it from the session variable. So session scroll to comment, okay? And hopefully I did that correctly. So let's try that out. Do we still have any notifications left? We do not. So let me put some back by making these null again. Okay, so they're null again. There should be 5 notifications. Okay. And let's see if I did this correctly. Let's go here. So assuming that I did not delete the comment, it should scroll to it if I did everything correctly. And it does. Cool. That was one comment. So let's try a different one. This is the third comment. And it does work. Awesome. However, this is not going to work for all cases because we do have pagination on our comments here. So, for example, where's this comment? Testing data. Testing data. So it's all the way down here. So if I had pagination, this would not work if this were on a different page. So I think I can show you that if I change the comment per page to something low. So let's say 2 instead of 20. Now this comment should not be on the first page. Okay, so it's on what, the last page or the second last page? Somewhere. There it is. So obviously this is not going to work. So if I try that, testing data, so this one, it's not going to work. I mean, it still goes to the page, but it doesn't know where the comment lives in terms of the pagination for it. So given the list of comments for this particular idea and the comment we're looking for, we can calculate what page it's on. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll leave it at 2 for now. Let's go back to our comment notifications. So we're going to need the list of comments. So we have to grab that from the idea. So let's grab the idea as well. So let's say idea find notification data idea ID. Okay. Import idea. And we can grab the comments from the idea like this. Let's say comments is idea comments. So let's see if this works for now. So let's just die and dump that. Okay. And let's try that out. Let me not mark it as red for now. Okay. So let's see if we get the list of comments for this particular idea. And we do. There are 14 ideas, and it does seem to work. But we need them in incrementing IDs, starting from 0 or 1. So let's say pluck ID. So we just have an array of IDs. Okay, so let's see what we get. Try that again. Okay, so now we have an array. And we have incrementing IDs, like I said, which is what we need. And we also have the corresponding comment ID. So now let's go ahead and search for the comment that we're trying to scroll to. So let's do that. Actually, let me pluck it from up here. So let's make it use the query builder here so we don't load everything into memory, and then we can do pluck ID. That should be the same. So let's try that one more time. Okay, still the same. So like I said, we need the ID of the comment we're searching for, or the index of the comment we're searching for. So if we're searching for comment 503, we want 7 for the index. Okay, so let's make another variable for that, say index of comment, and we can use the search method on the collection. So it's a comments search for the comment ID. Okay, so in this case, which comment are we looking for? Let's see. So which comment is this? So this one is scroll to comment. So which one is that? Or I can just check the database, which is easier. So it's ID 511. So let me put that back. So we're looking for 511. So let me comment that out for now, and let's try that again. So again, this is 511. We're looking for this comment right here. So it's the last one. So if I die and dump the search method, it should be 13 because that's what we're looking for. Okay, so let's die and dump the index of comment now. Index of comment should be 511, or sorry, 13. That's correct. And let me just put this back because I'm going to show you the formula now. So let's bring that back up. So the formula is, or the formula to get the page is the index of the comment, so in this case 13, divided by the pagination count. So right now it's 2 for us because I set it to 2. So what's that? 13 divided by 2 is 6.5 plus 1. So it's 7.5, and we don't need the decimal. So that should be on page 7. So let's see if I'm right. Is that comment on page 7? Let's remove this. Scroll to comment should be on page 7. It should be because it's the last one. And there it is. So let me put the other comments back just to make sure our formula works. So I'm going to put this back to null. And let's try this one comment. So that is, which one? ID of 507. So again, let's die and dump that. 507 is index 9. So again, the formula is the index. So 9 divided by the pagination count, so 2. So 4.5 plus 1 is 5.5, but we don't need the decimal. So it should be on page 5. So am I correct? Is one comment on page 5? And it is. Cool. So that formula does work. So let's go ahead and translate that into code. So let's say page equals, so say index of comment divided by comment. And if you take a look at the comment here and the corresponding model, you can grab the per page using this method, get per page. Okay. So back here, comment, get per page. Okay. And we want to add 1. And like I said, we don't need the decimal, so we can just cast it to an integer. Okay. So that's the page. And we can go to that page directly in this redirect. Remember, the page is part of the query string up here, right here. And we can add that in our redirect method here. So page is page. Okay, so that was quite a bit of work, but hopefully this should work. So this is still commented out. I just want to see if it scrolls to the page, so I don't have to keep resetting it. Or scrolls to the correct comment, I mean. Okay, so let me get out of here. So scroll to comment should go to the last page because this comment's on the last page, if I recall correctly. And it is, cool. Scrolls to it. Let's try a different one. Another comment. This should be on a different page. I'm not sure which one, but it does work. Highlights it. Let's try one comment. Does work, and it seems to be working. Awesome. Third comment is here. Okay, so everything is working. Okay, let's make sure to handle the case when we delete the comment. So for example, this comment corresponds to this notification. And if we were to delete it, we would have an error. So let's delete this comment. Okay, notification still exists, but it will result in an error because the comment does not exist. There we go. So let's go ahead and make sure to handle this case. So in our code here, we can check if the comment or even the idea does not exist in here. So we can say if, say, not comment. So if it wasn't found, then we can do something in here. So I'm going to flash a message here. So let me just grab this. So similar to when we created an idea, instead of a success message, it's going to be an error message. So let me just replace this actually. So success message, let's say error message. Error message. And let's say this comment no longer exists. Okay. And we'll redirect back to the index page because that's where we'll show the message. So return redirect route idea.index. Okay. And let's do the same for ideas. So let's put that here. And let's say if not idea. Okay. And say this idea no longer exists. So again, if you don't remember, in our app.blade.php, we have this X notification success component, which shows a message. But right now it only shows success messages. So for example, actually, let's see if this works first. So we deleted that comment, but the notification still exists. And now it should just redirect back to the home page. Okay, cool. But like I said, I want a message here. And just to remind you how the success message looks like, let's add a new idea and submit the form. And you'll see it in the bottom right. But I want an X instead of a check mark here to show that it's an error message instead. So let's go ahead and do that. So back to our app Blade PHP. So we have this success message, but let's add another one here. Remember, now we have a session variable for error message instead of success message. So let's see what we can do here. Let's change this to error message. The message display is error message now. Okay. But let's add a new type here for our notification success. So maybe this should be another name so we don't confuse it with actual notifications. Maybe like pop-up success or something. I don't know. Naming things is hard. We'll just leave it. But we want a new type here to say it's an error message. So we can say type equals error. And the default will be success, so nothing else breaks. So let me save that. Let's go into that component. So it's a notification success. And the only difference here is the icon, and the icon's right here. Actually, we have to add the type up here. And like I said, let's default it to success so our existing notifications don't break. Success. Okay. But like I just did here, we are passing an error here. Okay, so now for the icon. So that's the SVG. So we can wrap this in a conditional. So say if type equals success, then it's going to be a check mark like it currently is. Okay. But if it's error, then it should be an X. So it changes to error. Let's grab an X icon from Heroicons. Say close here maybe. Let's grab this one. Okay. Let's paste this one in. It's H6W6. And let's reindent this. Let's get rid of this. And it's already H6. Let's add text red here. Okay. Hopefully I did everything correctly. If I go back to my browser here and test out that notification where the comment no longer exists, we should get an error message here. And there we go. This comment no longer exists. Cool. So let's go ahead and clean things up here and call it a day. So let's put the pagination back. So that's here. Let's put back to what, 20? Okay. Let's go back to our comment notifications. Let's mark it as red again. And this is kind of long, this method. So I'm just going to extract some of it to another helper method. So this is marking it as red up to here. But all of this other stuff is for scrolling to the comment. So let's grab all of this. Okay. Let's make a new method here. Say scroll to comment. Let's accept the notification here because we need access to that. And let's go ahead and paste that code in. Okay. And we can call it after we mark this notification as red. So this scroll to comment and pass in the notification. Okay. Does this still work? Hopefully it does. Hard refresh. And it should still scroll to the comment. So this one no longer exists. So this should work. It should mark it as red and show our error message. Okay. But the other ones should scroll to the comment. So say another comment. And there it is. Cool. Still works. But now it marks it as red because I uncommented that code. Okay. So as always, let's go ahead and make a commit here. This is episode 62. Git add, git commit, episode 62, mark notification as red.